Morning, everyone. It is May 9th. It's Saturday morning. I wanted to give you guys a look at my legs this morning. They are not quite as swollen as they have been in the past, but this week has been a really tough week as far as pain, fatigue, and the swelling in my legs. In fact, my weight loss has stalled because so much fluid is being held in my legs. So I just wanted to show you and talk to you guys about what I mean when I'm living with lymphedema in both legs. I've had it since I was a kid. As far back as I can remember, my legs have never actually fit into any kind of boots that were like the cowgirl boots that all the girls in school were wearing. So basically, the lymphatic system, which is the drainage, just doesn't work in my legs. And it just keeps the fluid down there. But you'll just see more of my legs. And as I move slowly, you'll see what I'm talking about. So today I'm going to be giving you a glimpse into my life. As usual, you can see me making some breakfast for us. It was a special day because I usually can't afford to get kielbasa or a whole bunch of meats like this, but I did get some assistance from my family. They ended up buying us a few extra groceries, and I was so grateful to have something a little bit different because let me tell you something, food fatigue is real. I went for a long time eating the same thing every day, and I was okay with it for a long time. After surgery, I was on the all liquid diet for 2 weeks. I had to be on all clear liquids like jello, which they consider a clear liquid, or water, or clear protein, whatever I could find for 2 weeks. Then we moved to pureed food, which was not very fun. And then I was able to move into soft foods. So, and then after about 2 weeks of soft foods, I was able to move on to normal foods as tolerated. And through this journey, I have typically had a fried egg for breakfast. And I've eaten a little bit more and a little bit more as I have progressed in my surgery, as the doctor told me, as the swelling goes down in my pouch, which is my new stomach, I'll be able to eat a little bit more, but no more than 3 to 4, and I think in the future, 5 ounces at a time. But this morning, I was able to have a little bit of kielbasa and my eggs, and we got a little fancy today and had some cheese in our eggs. I'd been missing some cheese in my egg because I usually did put just a small sliver of cheese on my eggs just to give it a little bit of a extra taste. You can see my scale in the background ready to go, and I'll be using that in just a moment. I sometimes do add just a little bit more food onto my plate than what I can actually eat. And I think that's just old habit. Try my eyes battling with what I know is what I can actually eat. And the rest I end up either packing up or feeding to my son. Yep, there's 2.8 ounces, and that's what I plan to have for breakfast. It's time to make my son's plate. And then I would like to cut up my pieces or of food so that the pieces are not quite as big. I had to go through 6 months of trainings to be able to go for the surgery. I had the gastric bypass November of 2025. And I like to cut it up. And then I like to go a step further and I like to use chopsticks and small utensils to make sure that my bites are smaller than I normally would. And then here you can see that I definitely did not finish all of my food. But it had a little bit of protein in it and it fueled me up to start with my chores. And so today, just come along with me. If you want somebody to clean with you, if you want a buddy to move around the house with and motivation to be able to do the chores that nobody really likes to do, come along with me as I get mine done. They don't fit no more. I was so proud to show you those pants that I grew out of. Those actually used to fit pretty well when I was wearing them before, and now I am in much smaller, but they have a string, so they're not going to waste. I can't afford to go buy more clothes for myself. So I use what I have and make it work for the most part. I do have a few pairs of pants that are my actual size, and even those are getting a little bit big. But if I did go and get different pants every time I change sizes at this point, I'd be getting them every month or so. And who has that kind of money at this point? I heard my son outside with his Nerf gun and was ready to fire. I figured he was going to be coming straight in, but nope, we're safe. Laundry is such a task, but I am absolutely blessed. All glory to God because I have a washer and dryer in my home where when I was in my apartment, we had to go to the laundromat, but I was able to get my clothes done. Send help. I haven't done my dishes in a day or so, but it is what it is. Let's load the dishwasher. Gonna speed it up so you don't have to watch everything. But this was a task, and it was actually went a lot easier than I expected. And here I'm going to show putting all of my little containers into this bowl. I have just found that it's easier to keep my small little containers separate and wash them because they don't fit into the dishwasher. I tried once or twice with the plastic ones. The glass ones might be able to go in there, but they end up flying around in my dishwasher, and it's just not worth risking breaking my dishwasher. So I just put them in the bowl, and at the end, I do end up washing them by hand. Here you can see I do have an overview of what I'm doing from above, but for some reason my phone did not record at the same rate that my camera did. It just ended up making the sync of what I'm doing in the sink versus what you can actually see a little bit different, but that's okay. Oh, there's my son. He's being so helpful with the chores here. And some of it, I wonder if it's because I am recording and he wants to be a YouTuber one day too. Just not yet. But does anybody else have kids that are in their preteens or starting their teens? And I'm just struggling with getting him to actually do more chores and to be able to help around the house. One day I want him to be able to help his wife and not expect her to do all of the chores, and I keep trying. Now, he is on the autism spectrum, but I believe that he can do anything that everybody else can. Found a few hidden dishes that he had put over on our freezer. I do have a chest freezer that stores a lot of our food. It's just easier, and I think the chest freezers actually freeze better and keep the food better for longer. And for somebody who's on a tight budget, that's very important. If you are liking this video so far, please give the video a thumbs up, like, subscribe, maybe leave a comment with some of your tips and tricks and anything you want to tell me. If you want to support the channel so that I can continue making videos and help support my little family, I do have my Buy Me a Coffee link down below. It's not clickable until YouTube decides to put through my verification, but every little bit helps, and I will be making my coffee board to thank everybody who does support the channel and help support my little family and the business that I'm trying to grow. Because not only just YouTube, I'm also doing a lot of handmade goods that I want to be able to sell. I do have a website, but I won't post that up just yet. I want to be able to build this up and show everybody what I do in a day in my life. There's my boy again being so helpful. He sometimes puts dishes in his room that ends up sneaking out just as I'm about to finish up with the dishes. So I was so grateful that he did end up bringing them out so I could finish loading the dishwasher as much as possible. Drop a comment down below. I love I think it's the Finnish brand of dishwasher pods. I fell in love with them. It has like the red bead in the middle of them. But there was one that they discontinued long ago. There's a discount store in my area that sold them a long time ago. And just let me know what kind of dishwasher pods you like or prefer. Some people prefer powder or the liquids, but I really haven't found which one I like the best yet, other than these pods. They seem to get a lot off of the dishes. And I haven't really found much help in that finishing liquid. So drop a comment down with any suggestions that you might have. I usually do wear my gloves when I'm doing the dishes because I do have long, real natural nails that end up shredding a little bit when I do a lot of dishes. But this just had to get done, and I found that I get a little clumsy with those gloves on. But we got most of the dishes done. I can do those little ones just a little bit later as I gather around from my countertops. Like I said, I have neglected my kitchen far too long. It's not as bad as it was the other day. There are my canning. I don't even know what they're called, but they pull the jars out of the canner. So, in my low income journey, I have started bulk buying what I can when it's extremely cheap. And I do have a pressure canner and jars. And I do like to can my own food. And I'll do some videos on that as I get the food that I can actually do the canning with. There's a few that I have experimented with. I've canned my own carrots, I've canned my own potatoes, which you'll see later as I make some dinner. I've canned my own bone-in chicken, but I do want to experiment a little bit more. There's the tripod that I bought. It does help, and a lot of times that is the one that I use when I'm making my lunch or any kind of food related videos. And I will be getting more of those as I get the chance to do meal prep. Unfortunately, I'm not very good at meal prepping yet. Oh, I remembered. I've got to hydrate. I found my son's Kirkle bottle and my last sweet tea. And there's no calories, no sugars, anything in this. And that's why I like the Kirkle brand. Oh, what was that? I heard a crash. It was either my cats or my son, but nobody cried out and nothing happened. Oh, I need help. I can't get it open. I called in reinforcements and he was sure able to help. He showed me how to do it easy, and now I can do it by myself without aid. I think number 3 is my sweet pot. If you know, you know with the Kirkles. You have to dial in. See how much flavor gets released with each drink. There's my son. I got to share it with my favoriteest person. I do use that IsoPure protein isolate. It does help with the protein when I add it to a few things, but I'm having trouble with finding what I can add it to that it doesn't change. So I tried it in some tomato soup and it changed the tomato soup into a foamy consistency. I really didn't like it, so I've got to find some other options. I told him if he was going to drink it, he's got to fill it up, but I had to fill it up a little bit more. I'm tired at this point. My legs are starting to ache. I'm starting to get a little bit irritable, but I try not to show it. And a little bit overwhelmed. But here we go, back to the dishes. Sometimes it helps the ADHD mind to just move on to a different task for a little bit and then come back, be able to do just a few things. I find myself straying from one task to another, and then to another. So I wanted to make sure that I got my tea. It was time to make my son his own iced tea. I can't have it because if you know, with the gastric bypass and really the sleeve too, you're not supposed to have caffeine. Now, I know a lot of creators, a lot of people who have had the sleeve and bypass, they still have their caffeine, and that's wonderful. They do great with it, but for me, I already struggle with getting enough fluid in. And caffeine is known to dehydrate you. Looks like it's time to change the wash over. This timer really does help because my machine does not have a buzzer on the machine at all. It's not broken. It just it doesn't have one. So here's me making lunch. It was just a simple lunch today because I didn't want to get my new, mostly clean kitchen any dirtier. So we're just going to have some regular tuna fish sandwiches. There's my Sola bread. I love the Sola brand. It seems to be one of the cleanest breads that doesn't have as many calories, and this one is higher in protein. And my nutritionist told me that I need to have a little bit more protein. Now, I don't always have the Sola bread because it is extremely expensive and I am on a tight budget. So many times I will skip the Sola bread, and I do keep it in the fridge because it makes it last a long time. So this is about when I realized that my son had eaten all of his regular bread just as a snack, and I don't encourage that at all. But foreshadowing, I should not have used these buns for his sandwiches because later on when I make dinner, I'm going to realize that I made a mistake on that. I did end up giving him a sandwich with my bread because I knew I didn't want to leave the rest of this tuna out and I wasn't going to be able to eat it. And that was just a little bit of tuna. I tried to spread it out as far as possible. And I don't like dry bread. I don't know about you, but I do have to have a little bit of mayo. And I try to use as little as possible, just enough to make it a little bit more moist or wet, whatever you call it. It's just not dry. And my son ended up eating every bit of his. He is 11 years old, but he is sure that as tall and big as any grown man. He is going to be tall. All right, time to cut mine in half, give his sandwiches to him, and clean up my mess. I did end up only eating half of my sandwich. It was delicious, by the way, even though I'm tired of tuna. I think the bread helped with it. Here's a shot. I only ate half, and I did save the other half. And then I got kidnapped. That's my Floofy. His name's Charlie, but we call him Floofy most of all. He's my most lovey cat. I do have three cats. I have Sissy, Bootsy, and Floofy. Bootsy and Floofy are brothers, but Sissy was here well before the boys, and she definitely shows it. I try to get up, but looking at him, he don't want me go. How do you leave that? How do you leave your babies? I'm kidnapped. I'm stuck. I can't move. I am so blessed to have these kitty cats and getting the snuggles that I do. Every time I sit down, at least one of them comes up and lays on my lap, and it's just so sweet. I know they love their mama. It's great for the depression days. There he goes. Time to get back at it. If you're like me, I just did not want to get up, but glory to God because I can throw on my Christian music in my headphones, sing along to my music, and just get some work done. It's God that gives me the strength and ability to do what I do with my legs and some other health conditions I have not gotten into. It's really hard to be able to keep going some days. And some days, like you saw at the beginning of this video, I got extremely tired. My legs hurt all week with the impending rain and the climate changes. It just gets really difficult, especially when there's no storage that I can find to be able to put some of this stuff. What is your biggest struggle when it comes to tidying up the house, cleaning? What would you say? Leave a comment down below. What's your struggle? What is your Achilles heel? What is it about the chores that you struggle with the most? I would love to hear what you go through on a daily basis, just like what I go through, and that makes it a challenge to get the chores done. Is it ADHD where you're jumping from one task to another? Is it a mental condition? Is it avoidance? What is going on in your life that makes it very hard to get the chores done? All my little tiny containers. I'm putting the lids up top and the containers on the towel there. I just found that it's easier to separate them because then I can just grab them all up. I have long since stopped trying to stack them all and keep them all neat. I do store all of my little containers in a much larger Tupperware type container that I got at Walmart. It's just so much easier to keep them in there. They're contained. I can keep the lids in there as well. and it's just much easier to be able to handle them. They're harder to keep track of, it seems, than any of the bigger plates or bowls or the bigger Tupperwares. And surprisingly, I have not lost too many lids. So please, God, let's keep them all together. While I'm doing up the rest of these dishes, if you don't know me and are new to the channel, my name is Stephanie. I am a single mom, bariatric mom, where I've had the gastric bypass in November of 2025. My son is 11 years old, and he does help out quite a bit. I do suffer, as I've said a lot in this video, from lymphedema and other conditions. One thing that I did not mention that I do struggle with is depression. Now, I know a lot of mamas go through depression, and it's not easy to get the motivation to get up some days, but we still have to show up. We still have to do everything for our babies. Still show up, still put on, and get moving. God has really helped me with my journey. I would not be here if it was not for Jesus Christ dying on the cross so that I can be saved and have a better relationship with my Father in heaven. Praise God, and I will always praise Him in every one of my videos. So I also noticed that most of my dishes cleaning, and I apologize on it, did not record because my storage actually got full. So it skipped right on till to dinner, which tonight I ended up deciding to make some cheeseburgers. I haven't had them in a while because honestly, I had grown so tired of having cheeseburgers. They used to be one of the cheapest meals that I could make, but since then I have found that chicken is my cheapest option. Leave a comment down below. What are some of the cheapest meals that you have found for a low income family? I have found those bags in the chicken section of chicken leg thigh quarters at Walmart, sold by Purdue. They're the cheapest per weight of what you get, and you'll see that on future videos. I can't remember where I got this griddle or where my family did. My parents had it for a long time before me, and it has been through it. There's the hot dog rolls that I had to use for his hamburgers because I used the hamburger rolls for his sandwiches earlier. But this thing has been through the ringer, and I abuse the tar out of it, but it still continues to be very well non-stick. It works great for hard cooking or soft cooking, and I am just so blessed to have it. Now, I don't eat my cheeseburgers with anything. I was going to use some of those zero net carb wraps, but when I started to weigh my food here, like you can see, 3.9 ounces for my hamburger, I decided that I didn't need anything else because I wasn't going to be able to eat the rest of the hamburger, and I wanted just a little bit of the potatoes, just a tiny bit, just enough. Now, what I did make is I took my home canned potatoes and I made butter parsley potatoes. I will show how much that I ate of my food at the end. But if you did like this video and want to see more, please like, comment, follow, and subscribe to see more. And if you want to be able to support my channel, my Buy Me a Coffee link is down in the description. Have a blessed day.